Introducing out of the red corner, 16 victories, 1 defeat, 12 of those victories coming by way of knockout. He is the former undisputed lightweight champion of the world from Brooklyn, New York, the Takeover, Teofimo Lopez!
His professional record, 39 victories, 2 defeats. He has 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Barcelona, Catalunya, España. Here is the former Europe.
Welcome to OTB Boxing School. Y'all know what's up, man. Go ahead, old students, subscribe on your way in. New students, hit that like button for me, man. We got some fight film to break down. We had a multitude of fights that was announced, so we gonna be dropping fight films back to back to back to back. Oh yeah, we about to get real active. Don't y'all better expect it to get checked about it. But in the meantime, in between time, let's get into this fight film. We got Teofimo Lopez. He gonna be facing off against the likes of Sandor Martin, whom we all know beat Mikey Garcia a few years back. And I'm really expecting this to be a good fight, and it's gonna tell us a lot about both fighters moving forward. But let's get into this film, find out where these punches coming from. Look at Sandor Martin. He has a very active jab, but what I'm looking at here is how he smothers his punches, and look at the drop step, and he does manage to get his head outside that lead shoulder. So although he doesn't have a very active guard, he's never really in range to get hit flush. However, I will expect him to be able to brush up him smothering his punches like that. Teofimo Lopez has a lot of has great timing, and if he can expect that those punches won't hurt him, then he'll sit on his punch that much more. And Sandor Martin don't have his feet is something that he really depends on. Now right here we just looking at how active his jab is. Look at how active that jab is, and look at Felix start to toy with the jab, and he'll start to foot feint him and actually have some success, as we can see. Watch what Sandor Martin do when he see the foot feints. He don't want to go. He starts waiting to counter those. He's a natural counter puncher when he is on the back foot. However, with the drop step and him not really being able to get his wrist turned over, he doesn't possess a lot of power or striking ability. And then when he doesn't have outside foot leverage, he just backs himself up into a lot of corners, which I noticed. So Felix Jose started to notice that, and he started to foot feint him to close the distance and to eliminate the lead hand in which Sandor Martin depends so heavily upon. But as you can see right here, we'll see Felix Jose circle out. Look at Martin tend to cut the ring off, and look at him on the front foot. And right now we just gonna look at him close the distance when he gets the outside foot leverage, but he don't get his wrist turned down. So as he's landing these punches, he's not possessing any power. And I fear that if he can't get his striking ability in order, he doesn't have a high enough work output. And Teofimo's not gonna hide from those punches. And once he feels that Sandor can't hurt him, then it's gonna be a long night for Sandor Martin. So I really look for him to really up his punch volume, as we could see Felix start to have some success as he sits back in that a head slot off of his back foot, which is something that Martin does a lot, because when that lead hand isn't active, then you can have some success against him because his head movement isn't the best and his reflexes aren't either. When he counter punches and has success, it's mainly from him having such a high ring IQ that he's seen this he's seen what you're trying to do, and he has an answer for it once you kind of shoot your load. Pause. But But yeah, I really think that Teofimo is gonna have to come with a variation of looks, because Sandor Martin, if you show him the same look too many times, he will counter you and he will have some success. He'll land his punch, you best believe. But now let's look at him against Mikey Garcia. As we look at Mikey walk him down, and you look at him back up, and we look at that active guard is just not tight enough for my likeliness with him liking to sit on his back foot so often, and him having a tendency to do that. But I wanted y'all to see that he will land his punch as he landed that overhand right hook, while Mikey was coming in there kind of reckless. So Teofimo gonna have to keep his feet up under him and really keep his head in the fight throughout the course of this fight, because Sandor Martin will land his punch. However, the effect or the damage of that punch is gonna be that's going to be out for the verdict to determine. But in the meantime, now we just going to look at Mikey walking down and look at him back himself into the corner again. And he notices that he does, so he gets that jab active. But I really look forward to whether Teofimo can keep him on his back foot, and whether Teofimo can keep that type of pressure and intensity throughout the course, and time and weight transitions. If he can time your weight transition, and then he'll tend to start sitting on his punches a little bit more. And when he does, he just don't have the striking ability to really be too successful. But now let's get into Teofimo, as we see him take that right hand from Mr. Campa, who landed a variation of right hands. But right here, I just wanted y'all to notice Teofimo's active guard, and it's not always the tightest, as we could see him start to circle and put himself into the corner, because when he's not working that jab, he's not the most active fighter. He's trying to counterpunch and land his punch, and a lot of times within the course of that, he gets he leaves out a lot of his body work, and then he does what we see him do right here. He backs himself into a corner, and he thinks he gonna shoulder roll his way out of it, but his shoulder just ain't high enough, and he don't hold the phone enough to my likeliness. He loves to drop the phone or talk with it on speakerphone. That's what we gonna call that. And then right here, when you look at him again on the ropes, and he stay on the ropes that much when he tends to drain out from using his legs. He's very dependent on his legs throughout the course of the fight. So when he drains out and he ain't using his legs, then he's needed to use that jab. But it's not always necessity with Teofimo Lopez that he uses that jab. Look at him right there, as we could see him time Campa's weight transition, but he'll admire his work, sit there and look at Campa have some success, and those aren't gonna be the combination of punches, and they won't be pity pat punches. As you can see Campa land a few punches. I really look forward to seeing if fuck man, I forgot his name. If Sandor Martin can have some success and turn his hands down, so he can really have some success throughout the course of that fight. Because Teofimo has some flaws when it comes to him in the pocket. He don't hold that phone. So if you can put together a multitude, a combination of punches, then you'll have some success, as we see Loma do right here. I picked the Loma film because Loma was a southpaw, and when Loma did close the distance later on in this fight, he had his success, and I really was impressed as we see Loma continue to keep Teo on the back foot. Look at how Loma comes right back in and keeps the pressure on Teo, as Teo answered, but Loma comes right back in, rhythm steps his way back in, cross steps his way back on the line, and he goes back to work. And when he did that, he had success on Teofimo Lopez, because Teofimo Lopez drains out, and then when he does, his defensive techniques tend to lapse, and he don't hold the phone as high. Look at how low his glove is right there. Yeah, I mean, and then look at that lead hand. He don't go to shoulder roll that punch as Loma tend to close the distance. He goes to catch it or paw at it. And when fighters do that, then you open yourself for a counter for a counterpunch, as we could see Loma put him on his back foot, and we know how uncomfortable Teofimo is on his back foot. That's why he shoot that body shot right there, because Loma landed that straight left hand right down the pipe. And with Sandor Martin being a southpaw as well, then that punch is going to be there for him to land. It's just a matter of whether he can land it with some striking ability and get his hips behind that punch and really turn his wrist down to where he can have some of the success that I believe he can have on Teofimo Lopez. We've seen George Kambosos have some success on Teofimo Lopez doing the same thing. Because once he abandoned that jab, his head movement ain't always the best, as he's so athletic. He tends to lean on that athleticism to too much for my likeliness and not enough on his fundamentals. But when he does, then we know the type of talent that Teofimo Lopez possesses. And for that reason, I'm really picking Teofimo Lopez to win this fight. As we can see, Loma has some more success, and Teofimo, when he drains out and he abandons that jab, he's there to get hit. His active guard just ain't the best, man. That, like, when they say that shoulder roll is broke, man, it damn sure is. So I really look forward to seeing if he can have a variation of looks, you know what I mean, and stay active throughout the course of this fight. Because if I'm Sandor Martin, I want to do exactly what Loma did, and that's take him deep in the trenches, 10, 11, 12 championship rounds. I just want to stick around until the championship rounds, and that's when I want to up my pressure, because we've seen Teofimo Lopez drain out, just as we watching him drain out in this clip right here. Look at all of the success that Loma having, but look at how Loma's keeping the pressure on him and closing the distance when he wants to close the distance, not when Teofimo Lopez would prefer for him to close the distance. So I really look forward to seeing if Sandor Martin can keep this type of intensity and keep this type of work output throughout the course of the fight and save some in the gas tank for the championship rounds, because I feel like he could really have some success there, but I don't think it'll make it that far because of the defensive lapses which we talked about. He's just not the most active fighter, and when he does lose distance, when he's not fighting from distance and you make him fight in the pocket, he doesn't have an active guard, and his clinching techniques just aren't the best, as I can give all of my graduate students a heads up. Look forward to the clinching techniques brought to y'all by Boxing Gyms. Man, salute to the Brody Boxing Gyms. Appreciate it if everybody go ahead and subscribe to the big bro. Man, I need all my students to go on over there and be subbed in. Also, I ask that y'all subscribe to G5 Gabe. We trying to get him to 1,000 subs, so I appreciate that. And the last one, glove up boxing is more boxing. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate the time. Hope y'all enjoyed the breakdown. I deeply enjoyed it. Sorry about my voice right now, man, but I just wanted to get this out. Next up on the breakdown list, we got Gervonta Davis, Hector Garcia. So y'all look forward to that. That'll be on the market probably Thursday or Friday morning. And y'all know what it is, man. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe on your way out. Class is dismissed on Teofimo Lopez, Sandor Martin.